Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the MLB DFS Core Pick video for Friday, June 13th. If you join me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We go over my core picks. It's going to be 5 players in total, 1 pitcher, 4 hitters. That's going to be based on a combination of past performance versus their respective opponent, as well as some recent history. And then after that, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Friday's slate overall. In the morning, I'll be posting my early morning weather report that will have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be posting as many of these starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evening. So definitely be on the lookout down in that comment section, especially as we do get closer to lock. So you do have the most up-to-date and relevant information as possible. But without further ado, we'll get right into it with the core picks. We're going to start off at that pitcher position. We got Jacob deGrom of the Texas Rangers. He's $9,800, averaging over 35 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been doing really well as of late. A very attractive matchup for Friday's slate going against the Chicago White Sox. And he has good but very limited history versus them in the past. He didn't pitch against them in 2024, so not too much recency against the Chicago White Sox to rely on there. But if we look at what he's done so far in the season, 6 wins, ERA is at 2.12, and he's currently averaging about 35 fantasy points per game at $9,800. Been doing really well as of late, so definitely do like his upside once again, and would expect him to be a very popular pitching option for Friday's slate overall. But feel free to mix and match as it is a very large slate overall. Then we're going to move down to our hitters. We're going to start off with William Contreras of the Milwaukee Brewers, $2,900, averaging just over 9 fantasy points per game. A little bit of a down season for him, so kind of banking on the buy low price here at this point in time. He's going against St. Louis Cardinals, and Eric Fedde is the expected starting pitcher for that Cardinals team. He is 8 for 14 with 2 home runs versus Eric Fedde in his career. And if we look at what William Contreras has done as of late, he's got at least 1 hit in 4 out of his last 5 games. Only 1 multi-hit game during that time span, 0 home runs, 1 double-digit performance, and 2 games to 9 fantasy points or higher. So definitely do understand why he's down here at $2,900 at this point in time. But banking on some past history, he hasn't been terrible as of late. So if you're playing him in a Brewer stack, definitely makes a lot of sense. If you're playing him as one of a relatively cheap one of at the same point in time. But if we look at what he's done so far in the season, 242 average, 5 home runs, 28 RBIs, once again averaging just over 9 fantasy points per game at $2,900. Then we're going to move down to second base with Abraham Toro, once again of the Boston Red Sox, $2,800, averaging just under 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He goes against the New York Yankees. It is Ryan Yarbrough as the expected starting pitcher for that Yankees team. And if we look at what Abraham Toro has done as of late, it's been really, really good. He's got at least 1 hit in 6 out of his last 7 games, 5 multi-hit games during that time span, 2 home runs, 6 double-digit performances, and he is 2 for 6 in his career versus Ryan Yarbrough. Did forget to mention that earlier, but definitely do like him at this $2,800 price tag. He has that versatility, whether you want to play him at first base, second base, or third base, and he looks like a really good piece of a potential Boston Red Sox stack just in general. And if we look at what he's done so far in the season, .330 batting average, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, once again averaging just under 10 fantasy points per game at $2,800. Looks like one of the better value plays overall on Friday's slate. Then we're going to move down to shortstop with his teammate in Trevor Story, $2,900, and he's currently averaging just under 9 fantasy points per game. Goes against that same New York Yankees team, Ryan Yarbrough on the mound. 1 for 3 versus Ryan Yarbrough in his career, so not too much history there to write home about, but has at least 1 hit in 4 out of his last 5 games, 4 multi-hit games during that time span, 2 home runs, and 4 double-digit performances. So definitely do like the hot streak that Trevor Story's been on as of late. He's the guy that can get streaky at times, so definitely do like him in this matchup versus the New York Yankees and Ryan Yarbrough. If we look at what he's done so far on the season, .230 batting average, 9 home runs, 34 RBIs, once again averaging about 9 fantasy points per game at $2,900. Then last but not least, we're going to go down to the outfield with Hunter Goodwin. You could also play him in that catcher/first base spot as he's eligible at both those positions as well. But since we have William Contreras already there, Hunter Goodwin ended up in that outfield spot. $3,000, averaging just over 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been doing really, really well as of late. He goes against the Atlanta Braves on Friday. Bryce Elder is the expected starting pitcher for them. He's 3 for 6 with 1 home run versus Bryce Elder in his career. And Hunter Goodwin is currently on an 8-game hitting streak, 5 multi-hit games during that time span, 4 home runs, and 5 double-digit performances. So definitely do like his upside, especially at a relatively cheap price tag of $3,000. If we look at what he's done so far in the season, .287 batting average, 11 home runs, 39 RBIs, once again averaging just over 10 fantasy points per game at $3,000. But with that being said, if you go to the 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $13,600 remaining, $3,400 remaining per player, so a decent amount of money remaining. Obviously, stacks will play a pretty big role just in general, but these are 4 hitters that I did want to highlight for Friday's slate overall. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to my cheat sheet and talk about my top GPP teams to stack for Friday's slate overall. So we're going to start off with the Milwaukee Brewers. They're going against Eric Fedde. A lot of the hitters have hit him really well in the past, although some of those hitters have been a little bit slower as of late. Whether that's William Contreras, Rhys Hoskins, Christian Yelich, Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang. Quite a few options there just in general. Then we have the Atlanta Braves going against the Colorado Rockies. Herman Marquez is the expected starting pitcher for them. Braves hitters have hit him really well in the past. And then we move over to the Boston Red Sox. Talked about two of them in my core picks, but a lot of their hitters have hit Ryan Yarbrough pretty well in the past. Romy Gonzalez is another sneaky play there, although unfortunately he is at $3,000 at this point in time. Would be a little bit more interested in him with his versatility, if he's in that starting lineup, if he had a little bit cheaper price tag, but he could be a sneaky guy to put in your Red Sox stack just in general. And then last but not least, we have the San Diego Padres. They are going against Ryan Nelson. Not a long list history there, but a lot of their hitters have fared pretty well against him in the past. But with that being said, these are my core picks as well as top GPP teams to stack for Friday, June 13th. As always, if you have any questions related to MLB DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Once again, in the morning, I'll be listing my early morning weather report that will have any game that does have a double-digit chance of rain or higher. And then I will also be posting as many of the starting lineups as I can get to throughout the afternoon and early evenings. So definitely make sure that you are checking up down in that comment section, especially as we do get closer to lock, so that you do have the most up-to-date information as possible. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos, typically Monday through Friday. Got my CFL DFS video dropping once a week. Typically, that will be coming out on Wednesday, so definitely feel free to check that out if that's something you're into as well, or want to check out for the very first time. It is week 2, so definitely a good time to jump in on some CFL action. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Prize Picks, and Parlay Play. If you're a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's a 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's a 125% match up to $2,000. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comment section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in MLB DFS for Friday, June 13th.